Well guys, welcome back to the channel and so glad to have you all here once again. Thank you all so much for following the stuff, and I'm trying to keep it interesting for you all so that we can enjoy the outdoors and fishing and see what's possible out on our local waters. Now, I've got something I need to do today because of the situation of rain. We've had so much rain over the last month and a half, and it's been absolutely terrible for the fishing. Hence the fact not as much fishing stuff coming out at the minute. I can't get on the rivers because they're chocolate brown and I just don't think that the fish are going to be there. So I've come out today and I'm going to put something out there today, and that is I'm going to do some red claw fishing. Now this is the trap that I have got. I got these ones online. I'm going to give them a try and I'd like to find out which bait is better. Now, is rock melon the best bait, or, as a good friend of mine, Finn, shout out to you buddy, says that sunlight soap, which is found in the laundry department of your local store, is that the way to go? So we're going to do two traps which are going to have rock melon in them, and two traps with sunlight soap, which I'm going to sort of shave and make it all interesting. And we're going to put them in the traps. We're going to tie them up in various spots along the bank, and hopefully we're going to get some catches. I'm going to leave them through the night tonight and then come back tomorrow and obviously pick them up. Shout out to a few people, Jags and Jugs, all to you, man. And Kalau, Dawson, two of my fishing buddies, doing real well for fishing, by the way. Great to have you guys around. Yeah, thanks for watching my shows. So yeah, guys, so let's get on to it. Like always, please subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell. You'll get notifications of future shows on this channel and more cool stuff coming up in the fishing genre. So stay tuned, check this out. Let's see how we go with this red claw fishing, and possibly a little cook up at the end. I've got some pots out here and so on, which I put up last night. I got a few online and so on, and I made sure that they met regulation. The floats and everything else, they need to be 15 by 15. So I used some bottles and I whitened them up and put my details on them like that. I've got a rope of about 7 meters. I'm not going to go further than 7 meters under the water. In actual fact, I'm going to try and strategically target through the trees and that over here. I'm going to go and target 3 to 4 meters, of water. And we're going to see if I can find the structures. Now I have got an advantage because I've got all of my sonar equipment up front, and I'm going to find places like little humps and that. There's a lot of structure around them, and strategically try and place the baits. Now I'm going to weight the baits down with a few little weights at the bottom just to keep them down. And I'm going to keep them really tight to the trees as well in order for the drift. There's a bit of drift, as you can see with the boat right now with that wind, and a storm might come up this afternoon. So I may anchor them a little bit to a tree as well, keeping it really tight so that no other boats come through and obviously collect the floats. We're going to be using rock melon and we're going to be using sunlight soap. So two traps are going to have one, two traps are going to have the other. I'm going to stage them through the trees and hopefully we're going to find what we're looking for. You won't believe how many times a little multi-tool like that actually gets me out of trouble. This is the one with the pliers on it, just like that. They're not that expensive. You try and get a little stainless steel, so that it doesn't rust. But it's got the knife on it, and that's what I'm going to use to cut. You won't believe how many times these have got me out of trouble, like the little star screwdriver or the screwdriver, or you have to pick on something, or you have to put a hole in something, or you have to chop something, or you have to file a hook down. It's even got a little file on it as well. So these little things are great, and I just keep it on my side pack here. And yeah, it's there when I need it. Whenever I have a fish that's hooked really bad or really weird, I've got a pair of pliers really quickly. I can get in there, get it out, and so really, really cool. A lot of the times I actually find lures on trees and that's a great one to have on. You just pick it up, take the lure out, and you've got yourself another lure for your box. Anyways, guys, let's bait this up right now, and then strategically we're going to find some spots to put these so we get some effective catches. Alright guys, so here's the float number 1. You can see I've got my initials and everything else on it, and I've sprayed them white. I'm assuming that is 15 centimeters across. It definitely looks 15 centimeters across, and of course it's definitely long enough. So I've sprayed them white so you can see them easily. Hopefully they're going to work. 7 meters of line. I won't go any deeper than that, so 7 meters is fine because I don't really want line just dragging all over the water, so every boat that comes through picks it up. So I'm just trying to keep it just right. And what we'll do is we'll also put some weights at the bottom of this just to keep it down on the bottom. And additionally, I'm going to actually tie the floats close to a tree so that they're off the tree, but they're not just lying in the middle of the water there. All right, let's go guys. Let's get the rock melon out. All right, trap number 1, here we go. So I'm just going to cut some big chunks out of it. I don't think it has to be that neat. So there you go guys, there's a nice big piece, and I'm just going to fray it a little bit to give it that little edge. Of course, just so that that flavor comes out into the water. Pips and all, look at that, nice and mushy. Right, now just over there, I'm placing it in there, and I'm just going to put it at the bottom just like that. Look at that, that's just sitting in there, ready to go. And, hopefully that's going to attract them to come into the little doors and stay inside the trap. And let's see how that goes. So the trap itself comes with this little tie rope on it, and I just want to make sure that all the knots are really good, so that doesn't even if a boat comes through and picks up the line, that it's going to be tight enough. So I'm hoping that's strong enough. Sometimes you've got to check these things because sometimes they're not that strong. And also you got to lift your stuff up afterwards. When you finally got your fish, you want to be able to lift this up. So look at that, that's got a little bit of weight in it, so that's pretty good. Okay, that's going to sit on the bottom like that, very cool. And hopefully, let's just zip it up now, so there's no way to escape. There you go. And this trap's almost ready. We just got to tie our main line onto this one. So we'll do that. I'm not going to go for anything elaborate. What I want to do here is I just want to find the center of this. As you can see, I found the center here, and I'm going to, so that sits nice and straight. I'm going to tie a knot right there so that it stays nice and straight on the drop, because it can slide up and it can do all sorts of things. It's just a one go knot like that. There you go. And now that's going to sit beautifully, and you can see how that lifts up beautifully, and that'll just drop straight onto the bottom. All right, let's get the main line on right now. Nothing elaborate, just a nice little knot. I am going to tie these properly. I usually use slip knots and stuff like that, but I'm just going to tie them properly with 3-4 goes just to make sure. Remember that another boat might come past and pick this up and pull it, so it has to be able to withstand that. These 2 nice and strong, and of course a third one as well. It's going to be a bit of a menace undoing, but that's it. And you can see how I just burnt the ends of these as well, just so that they don't fray. So they're nice and burnt, and that's very important, so that you don't have this fray of line out the end there. There you go, guys, look at that. That's going to sit on the bottom like that, and we're ready to put our first pot in. So guys, I'm going to use my sounders now to try and find a spot amongst these trees. There's a lot of trees here, and I need to find some stuff on the bottom. Now you can see we've got some structures on the bottom here, and I'm hoping that the rock melon will get this whole area here all sort of sweetened up, and all these red claw will come towards it. So I'm looking for a spot right now. Let's see what we can find. Just on the drift right now, guys, looking around these trees, trying to find a good area to put it. If there's a lot of structure in an area, that's what I'm looking for. So there we go. We're just having a look around, little peek around right now to see what we've got here, and to see if this little area is a good one or not. Right, here we go. We just these trees up ahead here are intriguing me. See that area there? Nice, lots of structure. This in between here as well. It looks pretty much like there's a lot of small little things. If you have a look at this over here, you can see at the bottom. See, there's nice little small little pieces of wood and lots of bumpy bottoms. There's another piece of wood there. So this area here, for me, is looking very positive. Yeah, this is a good spot. Look at that. See, so coming up just further down as we come through here. That's what I'm looking for right there. Look at that. That's a big mound of structures and trees and stuff. So this area is very good. Look at that. That is what I'm looking for right there. And that's just sort of in here, right by these trees. A good spot to put them. I want to put them close to the trees. But to me, that area there is going to hold crawfish. It's 2.5 meters, so it's a little bit shallow. So I'm going to drop off into the 3 meter zone, and then we're going to drop a trap. Right, we've come up to these trees over here, guys, and I like it. I like what I'm seeing into the middle of this little basin here. So there's trees there, there's trees over here. As I'm sort of coming to the middle over here, it looks to me like there's a lot of cool stuff. Bottom's got a lot of structure. You can see how things are coming up all the time. There's lots of structure here. This is a good spot for a pot. Let's do it. Right, guys, here goes nothing. Our first pot in the water. Let's go. So I want to keep it quite close to these trees. Just hopefully the flavor and the fragrance of the rock melon is going to really come out. 2.9 meters, so I want to go exactly 3. Okay, that's cool. Right, between these two trees over here, I reckon, just over there, right by the stump. And we're going to feed it down into the water. There it goes. Hopefully it's going to hit bottom, and we're going to get some success here. Right, guys, I believe that's on the bottom now. What I want to just do quickly is just lift it slightly, just to make sure it's straight, and then drop it back down again. And that should be sitting just how we want it to sit, hopefully. All right, now I want to just get this close enough to the tree and tie it off a little bit so it doesn't get in the way of any other boats. Instead of fishing line and all that, I'm just going to wind it around the tree quickly. There we go. Obviously it's going to be in the water, but I just want to tie it off kind of thing so it's close to the tree and it doesn't drift anywhere. Alright guys, so that's around the tree now, as you can see. So I'm just going to do a knot like that, nicely. There it is, and a second knot, and there it is. And that should hold beautifully. No matter what storm comes up, that should hold it. And I'm going to drop it in the water and just leave it there. Right, you can see that the wind is really blowing there, but that is looking pretty good. The trap is around the tree, it's not going to go anywhere. That is exactly what I'm looking for right there. So there it is guys, you can see the wind is blowing towards us, and that's definitely going to secure it. Look at that float. Now if I didn't do that to the float, it's going to pull the trap across the water, and of course it's going to pull it out of the zone. That's staying in the zone now. I'm quite confident of that. I know that there's going to be no chance that that's going to move overnight. So there's one trap down. Yes, we've got another 3 more to go. That looks so cool back there. Look at that, kind of concealed. You know, you can't really just see it when you're coming past. It's kind of behind that tree and it's just out of the way. Now the next spot I've got here is just this little area in between here. So those 2 trees over there, depending on the depth, I'm sitting at 3.1 meters of water right now, but have a look here. Wow, look at that, 3.3, 3.4, just looks really good. Lots of cool logs on the bottom and stuff. That's what we want. All right guys, here's our second trap. So same deal, you got to get in there. I found an area of water that I like, so I'm gonna see if I can put it not too far away. The other one's just over there. And then I've just moved down here. I want to keep it within range of each other. So there it is right there. Look at that. Let's get that sorted out. Again, pips and all. And I actually left this overnight not cooled. I left it so that it would get nice and fleshy and so on. Right, easy as. In it goes. There it is. Okay, quick zip up. There we go. And the trap is set. Beauty. Let's get the line on and find our next target. Here we go. We're just looking at our sounder to see exactly what's going on. I want that just 3 plus water, trying it out. And with this muddy water and stuff like that, we've got to get some good targets. Just getting near these trees here, and you can see how that bottom starts looking just nice, lots of structures and things. And so that's exactly what we're looking for. Depth is not quite there on this one. Let's just keep moving. I want 3 meters. Right, hitting the 3 meter mark right now. Okay, so that's just the way. I want to find a tree that's just sitting right. That one there seems to be a little bit shallow. So that tree up ahead of us here might be the shout. Just see what the depths are doing there. So 3.6, 3.7 by this tree here. I like it. I like the area. Over there it had a nice little section. There's a lot of structure. This tree looks like it's out there. We're going to have to call them to it. Bit of structure on the bottom and so on where they're living. So let's put it in. All right, there it is. So you just get it up nice and straight first. Oh, I've got the wind blowing as well. I want to get it right by this tree, very importantly. Well, it intends to float a little bit by looking at that, and give it some line. And then we'll just let that sink down to the bottom, and then I'm just going to tie it off to this tree. But I'm just going to do this right away, so around it goes. And again, I'm just using this knot, just a quick double knot. That's all that needs. Right, nice and tight on that knot. And I'm happy with that. Let's move away from it now. Have a look at it now. The other thing is, you see, that's not going to get in the way of all the other fishermen. It's right on that tree, and it's not going to get in the way of anybody else. So very important. Right guys, let's fire on to the next target. And yeah, it's all about depth today. 3 meters, 4 meters, between 3 and 4 meters is what I'm looking for here. And that's very important. You can see there's the one trap right there as we go through the trees. That's in 3 meters, 3.1. There's the second one right here, and that is in 3.2, 3.3. That area there though, just there look good. So that's going to draw any red claw towards that trap. You can see how that is not going to affect any boats. Now there's nothing worse when you're fishing and there's a float in the middle there and you go through but you don't see the rope, and then it goes into your motor, your prop, and then you pull it and you mess up the trap, you mess up the whole toot. So anyways, you can see over there is our first one. There's our second one. Now we're going to look for our third. You see those trees over there? Let's have a look at the depth there and see how that looks. This is nice now. You see there's a couple of trees around here. That to me looks interesting. The depth is 4.4, so it's a little above. But when I get to that tree there, we'll check. If it's right, it might be a spot. We'll see. 3.9 meters of water, this tree over here, just sort of sitting in between these ones over here. And I'm just going to tie up to it because this wind is blowing like crazy, and I'm going to put myself into the trees again, which I have done already today. As you can see, it's just hard management, but got to do it. All right, this is the tree I'm looking at right here. So we're at 4 meters. That's perfect. I think that's perfect. We've got a good spot over here. There's 4 trees in a row. The other trap is there, the other one is there. You can see the two. This one here. All right, let's give it a go. I'm just going to tie us off onto this tree so I can work our magic. Let's do that. So this one I'm not going to use a big knot, you know what I mean? Like I'm just going to use a slip knot, and then I'm just going to use one little loop, and I'm going to pull that through like that, and that's going to hold us enough that we can just sit here and we can do our thing. Let's do trap number 3. So we're going to have a little mixed pie. I'm also going to put some sunlight soap in this one. We're going to have a bit of a mixed pie. I'm just going to scrape it up a little bit so it's really mushy and just great. Pips and all. That's the way. Pips and all. Mushy stuff. Look at that. Yes. Right, that's going to go in there like that. And it does float in the water, I just found out. And we're going to use some sunlight soap on this one. So my boy Finn. This is my boy Finn. He's told me about the sunlight soap. So hopefully I can chop through it. There we go. Just like that. Very lemony flavored. Smells nice. All right, we're going to put that in as well. There we go. We got a little mixed bag in there. And then the fourth one, we're just going to use the sunlight soap. So we're going to chop this up a little bit. But that looks really good. Hopefully that's going to find us some red claw. Okay, that's ready to go. And I'm just putting my little deal in my pocket. Look at that. How sweet, eh? All right, now let's get onto this. I've tied off over here just because I don't want to swing into the trees and all that type of stuff. This is the mixed bag one. And so we're going to drop it in right over here. So again, I'm doing all the same things I've done before. You know, I've got tying this up so that sits nice and straight in the water. Obviously, when that drops down, now you can see if I hang my finger there, that is always in. The knot's not going to slip down and it's going to pull the trap sideways or something. That's going to sit on the floor like it needs to. Look at that bait, guys. That's what I'm talking about. Wow, that is the stuff. All right, so it's not Girl Guides or Scouts. We're just going to do some knots. I don't need to do fancy knots. The less fancy it is, the more inconspicuous it looks, and the less chance you have of someone taking your stuff out of the traps sometime during the day. Right, guys, this is perfect. Nice water. What do we got here? We've got 4.3 over here. So this was 4 meters exactly. That's cool. And I'm going to put it this side of the tree because I want it to flow a little bit. There we go. Down she goes. Down she goes, rock melon and all. Beautiful. I'm just trying this out. We got 1 trap, 2 traps, 3 traps, and yeah, we're going to see how we go here. These are not the typical places people put them, so that's why I've done it. I wanted to come to a place where it's completely unique, but I've also seen the stuff on my sounders, and that's important to me, and that's the reason why I'm doing it here. Right, there we go, guys. It's all down the tree, and I can take this one off now, which is just our anchor. I will be doing a lot more of this, guys, so you know that's the reason why you always need your systems, and finding a system to film our films for YouTube, finding our system to catch fish, and finding our system to catch these crustaceans that live in this lake. So that's what we're doing. All right, that's done. Yes, and I'll just leave my anchor there for the next tree. Do we go over 4 meters or do we stay on 4 meters? I did say 3 to 4 meters, so we're staying on 4 meters. That's exactly 4 meters, that one, and hopefully it's gonna get us some produce overnight. So guys, that's great, and now the next spot. So we're gonna go across here and see if we can find another little area where we can see, you know, just a nice target area. And now we're going for our fourth. This one is the sunlight soap only one, so this is going to be an interesting one. Back onto the sounders. I'll look at this up ahead of here, and I'm just looking. That looks good to me as well. What do we got underwater? Let's find out. Although I like that spot over there, we said 3 to 4 meters, so yeah, there's 1, 2, 3. Is this area over here the next one? Let's see about that. Let's just check that out. That looked really good, but it dropped down. There's a drop off right there. It goes right down. That's a spot for the future though. Not for today's show. Today we wanted to do 3 to 4 meters. So that's exactly what we're doing. I don't want to cheat on us here. I want to keep it exactly how I say it. So we get the legitimate idea of what the fish are doing here. Right, just coming past this area now, there's a couple of trees just in front of us over here. Looks pretty good. That's quite close to the other ones. That's 4 meters. So that tree there would be good. Let's just see what we got underneath these trees here. Yeah, again, let's have a look at what we got. So we got right next to this tree over here, which I want to put the trap on. You can see we've got logs on the bottom. That's exactly because they'll live underneath all those little logs and stuff. So this is right on a drop. There's a drop right there, and that could be the key. All right, I'm gonna tie up to this tree here, and we're gonna set things up. All right, here's trap number 4, last one. So let's unzip it nicely and get the float out. Again, I just like this. It's nice and neat, isn't it? You put the traps in, they've got the floats inside, just good. You know, all my details are there on it. Nice and white, you can see it easily. All right, it's soap time, peeps. It's soap time. I'm gonna definitely chunk this up a little bit. Just chunk it up just like that. There you go, because that's gonna be messy at the end, unfortunately. But hey, that's gonna work. Okay, now I'm just gonna zip it up, ready to go. Look at that, it's gonna sit on the bottom there. All right, here is our soap, guys. Putting it in, it's gonna be really messy when it's finished, but it is what it is. All right, drop it in the water. Make sure it's nice and straight, just like that, and then let it go right by this tree. We're exactly 4 meters of water here, as I said. So, you know, all that rope didn't get used, but the excess I'm just gonna leave around the tree. So there you have it, guys. We've got 1, 2, 3, and of course 4 over here, and that is just sensational. You can see how I've done it so that the boaters aren't going to go through it. They're able to move through, they're able to fish. The weather holds up. As you can see, the weather again, there's plenty of clouds around. Nothing's going to catch in their motors. They're not going to rip up the pots. The pots are going to stay where they are. I'm assuming they're upright. I saw that the rock melon floats a little bit, but that may change overnight. The soap may do the same, but it's at the bottom. You know, do I need to string it up? We're going to find that out, but I didn't want to put too much into this. I mean, you know, it's not rocket science, this, you know. You get it out there, you get your traps out there, and we're going to see tomorrow morning, bright and early, what the outcome is. And not only that, I'm hoping to take it home and do a little bit of a cook up. Now, I'd like to find out if frying them, boiling them, putting them on the barbie has these changes, has these different flavors and tastes. What sauces work? You know, do we use mayo? Do we use mayo mixed with something else? I got a seafood concoction I need to show you. What sauces go with it? What spices go with it? Let's just play around with it and find out. 4 traps equals 10 per trap if we're lucky. So let's see what happens. I think we're in a good place to get a good result. So we're going to find out what the outcome is tomorrow. Stay tuned for that, and I'll see you tomorrow on the water. Adios.